I'm Dave Greenwood, and this is Overcoming Distractions. If you are an adult with ADHD, a busy professional, an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or just need some strategies to navigate your adult ADHD, you're in the right place. Who am I? I'm an entrepreneur with ADHD and the author of 2 books, Overcoming Distractions and Overcoming Burnout. I coach and mentor people just like you, and together we navigate the ups and downs of adult ADHD. From getting out of our own way to helping people just like you thrive in the workplace. That's what I do. Want more info on working with me? Hit overcomingdistractions.com. Ready? Let's get to today's podcast. Hey gang, welcome back. It is Dave. It is another action-packed episode of Overcoming Distractions. It's also an ADHD-friendly and somewhat brief, to-the-point episode of Overcoming Distractions. And today I want to talk about some of the ways that I take advantage of the mobile phone, because I think that the mobile phone can be a very valuable and effective tool if our ADHD brain allows us to take advantage of that. But we're going to talk today about how your mobile phone can be your friend. And I'm going to talk about some of the ways that I use it. And I get it. There's a love-hate relationship when it comes to adults with ADHD and mobile phones. It's a rabbit hole just waiting to happen for some of us. I get it. We can't keep our hands off it, and all the social media companies know it, and they continue to take advantage of that. They figured this whole dopamine thing out, right? And it's not the good dopamine that we need. So, but that's obviously a rant for another day. But the fact remains that you really cannot function as a busy professional without a mobile device in this day and age. That's just reality. So how do we embrace the positives of something that can completely throw us off track, right? That's what we're going to talk about. I don't know, for many, we have to pry our phones out of our hands before bedtime, and most of the time we're just looking at crap anyways. But there is ways to leverage this. Certainly negatives that come with the mobile phones and ADHD, and I'm not going to argue with that. But I'll say it again, if we embrace the technology sitting in our hands for good, it can be a positive. And I wanted to share some of the ways that I leverage the positives of my phone, mobile device. Some of them, I believe, have been game changers, even recently. And there's certainly more ways than these, but I think these are the ones that I personally use regularly. And if you know me as somebody who likes to be street smart, keep it simple, keep it real. I don't have, 20 different messaging apps or what have you on my mobile device. I know some of you may, but these are the core basics of how I use my mobile device for good and to actually move my life and business forward. All right, so here we go. As they say, lions and tigers and bears. So it's alarms and timers and clocks, of course. All right, I know we talk about alarms a lot in the ADHD world. We've talked about it a few times here. It is the focus of jokes and kind of a duh moment. But I'm suspecting that the people that, quite frankly, shit on this advice are the ones that don't use it, and they continue to be late. Maybe they burn food. Maybe they forget to pick up the kids at school. I don't know. I'm just saying. But the one thing I love to do in this podcast is to continue to reinforce some of the basics of being a busy adult with ADHD. And if you set an alarm once and it didn't work and you never tried it again, I think that tells me something. So That being said, rant over, but some things require us to have a little trial and error. So yes, I'm going to talk about alarms briefly, and I know we just talked about this a little bit in some other ones, but the mobile device you have, whether it's an iPhone or what have you, you can alarm the crap out of your life with your mobile phone if you want. And it's even with just the basic functionality of, say, an iPhone, you can put a lot of guardrails in place to help you get places on time, cook dinner for your kids, as I said, not burn it, get those kids to their afternoon activities, of course, pick them up without forgetting, getting to meetings on time, and so on and so on. And I think those alarms and timers can actually help our commitments in the workplace. We just have to respect those alarms and not blow them off, which I think a lot of us probably have been guilty of doing. We set the alarm, it went off, we either snoozed it, paused it, shut it off, went back to what we were doing, and time went on. I get it, easier said than done for some of us. And I get that, but if we're going to thrive as an adult with ADHD, we have to do the hard work sometimes. There's a lot of functionality in your mobile phone, including syncing to your email and calendar systems. You can set up recurring alarms where you don't have to set it every day. So if you have things that need to be done every day, and so on and so on. There are also sleep apps that will tell you to go to bed. They'll prep you for bedtime, and you don't have to set them every night. You set it up and then you forget it. And you can set up different wake-up times for different days, such as, say, you got to get up at 6 during the week and you want to sleep in on the weekends. You can manage that sleep schedule, so to speak, and you can put all these on automatic, so you just don't have to remember it every day. So when you get into work late and you tell people I forgot to set my alarm clock, I'm going to call just a little bit of BS, because that's how we roll here, all right? As a side note, if you don't want to keep your phone in your room, most modern alarm clocks, if you bought a newer one, they have these various features as well. They also update for daylight saving time and all that. So again, I know we've beaten the alarm and timer drum many times, but it is just one of those core things that is going to help us put those guardrails in place. All right. Enough about alarms for now. Dictation, okay? Dictation has been a massive game changer for me. It's helped me crush my productivity. It's motivated me to get working when I don't want to. It's allowed ideas to flow when they don't typically flow. It's improved my writing, and it's allowed me in general to actually get more done. And I will say the accuracy of dictation has dramatically improved even over the past year or two. And this has really been, as I said, a game changer for me. It didn't come easy, but once I kind of got into the habit of doing it, I realized just how valuable this technology was. So here's a couple ways I use dictation, both mobile as well as desktop, but I've used it in recent years to write marketing copy and other projects for the marketing and PR clients that I had. I've used it to return emails on the road. I've used it to engage in social media when my thumbs just couldn't find the right words, but I really wanted to comment on something, say on LinkedIn. And as I mentioned, I used it as a motivational tool when I don't feel like getting started on something. I mean, most of us can talk, and when we do that, your project gets started. You start to slowly get that motivation to get in the mood to actually keep going. At least it does for me. Other people I've worked with who have, say, extensive reporting for their work have found that dictation has solved a massive problem when it comes to procrastination and meeting deadlines, because they're able to actually talk when they can't type. And, like I said, it took me a while, But as far as I'm concerned, once it becomes a habit, I think it's a game changer. You owe it to yourself to experiment with dictation, as they say in the marketing and advertising world. So, but a quick word of caution: it is not perfect, and it's really a good idea to always just make sure you take the time to edit and proofread what you sent before before you regret sending something to somebody else, especially. But it's becoming more accurate. So dictation, I think, can be a game changer for us on a number of levels. All right, we've also talked about the Pomodoro app. If you've lived in the ADHD world for more than 15 minutes, you have heard of the Pomodoro app. But I will tell you, I never wrote an entire book before I wrote Overcoming Distractions. I did a lot of writing for my PR clients, but I never took on a project of this size. Not to mention, at the time, there was a absolutely insane deadline that I had to adhere to in my publishing contract. And there was absolutely no room for me to goof off or procrastinate. So I will credit the Pomodoro app with actually completing my books. If you just give the Pomodoro technique its due diligence and its process, and just give it a chance, it may just change work for you. Many discount it, and I get it. That's what happens in this world. But I don't think, if you've discounted it, that you have actually given it enough time. Not everything works for everybody, but I'm saying it really is worth your time to see if it actually is a technique that you can use. There are definitely other timer apps that you can download for your mobile device that can enhance your productivity, including ones with music and motivational tools and so on. But your phone can actually help you get shit done if you use it appropriately. And the Pomodoro app, and I'm sure there's several, is one that you should actually just download and just try it. If you have trouble sitting at your desk and getting work done, and you find yourself getting up all the time and, slowly introducing the Pomodoro technique and experimenting with work and rest times, the intervals of work and rest, can build up your tolerance for sitting at your desk. And it can also gamify it a little bit. Again, going back to when I wrote books, when I was writing those books, I was trying to compete with myself and see how many Pomodoros I could rack up in a day. And it worked for me. So that's another way that I use my mobile phone to my advantage. All right, managing to-do lists and other larger projects. There's programs such as Evernote, Notion, Asana, the list goes on, that will most likely sync to your mobile phone. Many people I've worked with one-on-one, quite frankly, don't have an effective to-do list. Maybe you're one of them. Some people also ask me what the best to-do list is, and I can't really answer that. But the criteria I set for a working effective to-do list is 1, that you will look at, 2, got to be in your face, and 3, it's got to allow a little bit of flexibility. And I think it's important to be able to have something that syncs everywhere, such as your desktop, your phone, your tablet, whatever you have, an iPad. Because now your to-do list is everywhere you go. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm an Evernote guy because it's simple. You can use it without a bunch of bells and whistles, and I can enter something in a note or a project on the fly, wherever I am. And I know when I get back to my desk, it's going to be there. And I have to tell you, I remember the days with a notepad and a pen scribbling things in my car, and it was on the passenger seat. And not only was that dangerous, but I knew there had to be a better way at some point. And I hate to say it, but I often found myself on the other side of the road. So I don't do that anymore. But finding the right to-do list is a lot of trial and error in my experience. We've talked about this before, but there are endless mobile apps that you can use. I've told you what I use. Also, don't download 10 to-do list apps and then try and figure it out. If you're trying to experiment, try one at a time. That's my advice. All right, the health apps. Again, I'm not suggesting you load up your phone with 25 different apps to manage your health, but having one or two, I think is a good thing. Because one of the non-negotiables for me, and you've heard me talk about this before, is some type of exercise, walking, getting moving, getting fresh air, what have you. And I can not only keep track of what I'm doing, but there's a little bit of motivation in there as well. You know, as I say, the 10,000 steps and you had 8,000, and how can you get 2,000? And you can, turn it into a game. And if you add like the watch feature, which I know there are many different kinds, one is the Apple Watch, you can once again gamify this part of your life a little bit. And I will say that there's days where the watch shames me and telling me I didn't meet my goals, and I laugh, but there is some motivation and accountability when it comes to, some of these health apps. And I love, it's 9 p.m. and it's like, Dave, you haven't met your goal. You can go take a brisk walk. And I'm sorry, that's not happening. So maybe I need to adjust that myself to maybe tell it to take a brisk walk at another point. So anywho, but there's a million things you can do with them, including tracking food, your movement, your heart rate, etc. Maybe you have this already, but you're not using it. And I'm sure there's a ton of functionality that I'm not even taking advantage of, but I seem to work pretty well with the basics. So if you're having challenges getting started on just building a solid foundation of managing your ADHD as a busy professional, then a health app is a good way to just kind of get started. So, and, I said 5 ways, but this is a bonus that I thought of last minute and I didn't want to leave it out, but mindfulness apps. And I know for many of you, even the word mindfulness or even meditation, makes you walk the other way. But if you're going to use your phone, you can take advantage of the endless ways you can use it to actually calm your brain down and just get more centered. I'm not asking you to meditate for 60 minutes, 7 days a week, but you can hop on an app and start with even 5 minutes. It can be calming music. It can be a guided meditation, whatever works for you. I think in the beginning, if your mind is all over the place and you're distracted and thinking of 1,000 things, a guided meditation is great. You can find 3-minute, 5-minute, what have you. Now, I'm a big fan of Spotify because all you have to do is search for what you want and it comes up. And I really do use this all the time. I go back and forth between guided meditations, some calming music. I even pull up like relaxing albums. Like you can find the most relaxing music, that type of thing. It'll pull up a complete album or playlist. So just put your thumb on the search feature, look for what you want, and I'm confident that you're going to find something that you like. Throw your headphones on, your noise-canceling headphones if you have them, and chill out for 5 minutes. If I can do it, then so can you, as they say. So your phone can be your friend if you use it appropriately. It can also destroy your productivity. So it's time for you to make that decision about how you're going to leverage your mobile device, because we have to live with them, how you're going to leverage that mobile device to actually enhance your life, your business, your work, and thrive as a busy adult with ADHD. All right, gang, reach out to me if you'd like to hang out for 15 minutes and you need a little help implementing certain strategies in your business, in your life, in your work. Just go to overcomingdistractions.com, click on that button, and I look forward to meeting you. All right, we'll see you next time.